Well, let's get on to a big reason why you're here and why I probably talk to you 90% of the time is because of watches.
Yep.
How did you get into it?
It happened, I think, 1 year after I started working. One of my close family friends is he's maybe 5 years older than me. He was really into watches, and I just saw him wearing a watch one day. I was like, that's the coolest. That's such a cool thing.
Yep.
And from then on, I became addicted to watches until now, until this day. I still collect watches, and I still love them a lot.
Can you remember the first watch that started it all for you?
Yes, it was a Omega Seamaster 300 meter diver. It was the one in the Pierce Brosnan movie. And yeah, I've actually got two of those to this day, and and they just looked cool. It just looked very unique, and with watches, I like the aesthetics of the watch. I don't really put too much emphasis on the movement or the finishing, but I just like the aesthetics and how it looks and how it wears on the wrist.
Yeah. So for me, I remember as well. So I was young. I was probably 13 or 14, and then one of my friends from hockey won a watch. It was a Rip Cool watch from probably City Beach. And at that age, you don't really wear a watch, and he won it, and I was like, that's so cool. And then he just looked cool wearing it, so that kind of was like, I want to get a watch at some point. And then one of my colleagues that I worked with, he kept talking about this green Submariner, just kept talking about it, and I was like, oh, what a wanker. But then started looking at it, and I would have been young. This is probably like 8-9 years ago, and that kind of put everything on the map for me. So that's when I kind of started. So that was the one that kind of started for me. And
the whole.
Yeah.
I agree what you mean when you said it was egotistical. Watch collecting is a very egocentric hobby. Like it's like people treat it as like a statement, or like, which is true.
You're a better guy if you have a good watch.
Yeah, so it's
which is true.
The hobby is like has a lot of people like who think with that, and everyone has it to an extent with watch collecting. So there's a very interesting group of people who are into it. Yeah.
So obviously you're much on a different level to most because you have the experience and I guess the means to do it. We were joking one time when I bought something about that feeling, the feeling once you buy something. What's your kind of take on it? Can you explain it to someone who hasn't actually had that feeling?
I'd say the feeling when you try the watch on and it just sits perfectly on the wrist. Aesthetically, it looks perfectly. That's, there's just a feeling that you get like, I need to own this watch. And I haven't felt that about too many watches, but there are a few which come to mind where I felt this is perfect for me. Yeah.
Can you share what those watches are? Or which one of those watches are?
Yeah, I'd say one of them that comes to mind is, I'll go two. So one would be the Cartier Santos. And I own this at the moment. I actually bought it to celebrate me buying into the first physio practice. So I knew I had owned that watch probably 3 or 4 times before and sold it, but I always knew that I would buy that watch brand new and be the first original owner and just keep it for my whole life. So the Cartier Santos would be one.
Yeah, because I've actually asked you to bring a couple and just to talk about it. So obviously the first one is the Santos that we're going to...
Yep.
And that's the story behind it, which is cool. Because it's got significance to you more than it just looks cool.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's probably the only sentimental watch I own. And the other one would probably be the Rolex Daytona. Rolex have a wide range of sports watches, and they're all sitting at 40 millimeter mostly. The ones that are really sought after, but the Daytona is one that's a really it was considered popular, but it also fits on a smaller wrist like mine very well. So yeah, that would be my second one. And aesthetically, it's just very like a perfect watch. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what about the feeling post buying?
Well,
We were joking about the one that I've got recently, and you're like, "Have you got that feeling yet?" And I was like, "I think so."
I think it can be it depends on how you acquire the watch. So if you've been chasing after this watch for like 2 years and you have to pay like a very high price for it, the initial feeling could be, oh, this is it. Like, oh, it's not as much as I thought it was. But so it really depends on how you acquire it. If you just get it like, just run into it and you get it, you don't really think too much.
Have you ever had buyer's remorse?
Well, that's the feeling where, like we were talking about it, when you chase something and you're watching videos about it, you're seeing pictures, and then once you put it on, you're like, okay, that's it.
So I have buyer's remorse for 95% of the watches I buy.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I don't know if you know Ethan, but I like buy and sell watches
Yes.
frequently. Yeah. And I'm always chasing the perfect watch for me. And the ones that I have, the Explorer and the Santos, they're the ones that I found perfect. Everything else, even all the other, like I've probably got 15 at the moment. The other 12, 13, they're expendable. But yeah, I get buyer's remorse for most of my watches.
And then tell us about the Explorer, which is the other one that you brought today.
Uh,
Is there any cool story behind how you got that?
There isn't.
Just like it.
Yeah, it's the Rolex that you wear when you don't want people to know you have a Rolex. So it's very discreet, understated, still a Rolex sports steel watch, and aesthetically very simple and perfect. So it's just a 3-hander, time only.
Yep.
And yeah, it's amazing. I'd say Explorer is very good for like everyday wear, and the Santos is good for maybe if you want to show that you have a nice watch. Yeah.
And how does someone go about it? Because you go to an authorized dealer, they'll either laugh at you or tell you to piss off because they've got no stock, talking about Rolex specifically.
Yep.
What's your advice to someone who actually wants one, who can afford one, but can't find one?
You got to pay to play. There's people that have been on waiting lists for years, and the waiting list is essentially like a fake list.
That's
like
literally how I feel.
I've been on like multiple for about 7 years.
Yeah, I think so. I have received phone calls as well to say if I'm like to ask if I'm still interested. I'm like, yes, I'm still interested. And I'm like, does that mean that it actually exists, this list?
yeah,
Like when I get a phone call, but otherwise that's exactly how I feel, that I'm like, it's a fake list.
yeah, and it's like it's just, it all depends on purchase history, like what you've bought from that shop, and if they deem you as a worthy customer in the future to continue shopping with them. So I know a guy he bought one ladies steel model, 7,000. After that, he got the multiple sports watches from them, which are really sought after. As soon as he buys them, he can make 10, 15K profit on them.
Right.
And just because they saw him with potential to shop there more. He's not going to, but because he's like very confident, very wealthy, and he just gives off that persona. But if someone like, I don't want to degrade myself, but someone like myself went in there, they would, with no purchase history or just buying that, they would not sell me the watch for sure. And I know that because I buy and sell watches a lot, that I will never get one from a shop. I've been told that from like friends that work there, which is okay but I honestly, if I got a watch from a shop, like I wouldn't resell it. But because I do like pre-owned watches, buy and sell, it's just like the chances of me selling it are much higher than other people. That's how they see it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, but like with like, I would like say if you like the watch and you can afford it, just get it, because like you might not even want the watch in a few years' time, or something might happen. If you want the watch that much, if it's not too crazy premium, then just go for it. Yeah.
And how consuming is it, time-wise and mental-wise?
Extremely. extremely time consuming.
Yeah.
Because I'm always looking out for like a good deal, a good watch. I'm looking on all the pages constantly throughout the day, so it's a very mentally draining as well, and stuff can go wrong. You can buy a pre-owned watch and something could be fake, or something there could be something wrong with the movement which you didn't pick up on. So it can be a lot of stress involved as well.
Yeah. So, like, obviously, you've helped me make some decisions and things like that. What would you say to someone who's just trying to get in, talk to other people? What would the best advice be?
I would say buy what you like. Don't buy what's good for resale or what other people think are popular. Everyone's got a different size wrist, so some watches don't fit a lot of people's wrists. And that was one of the mistakes I made. I've got a very slim wrist, but everyone said these were the best. Get this, but it just doesn't fit. So try it on, get what fits you, and buy what you like, and just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Watches I Seek, I think it's your page or someone's page.
Yeah, watch I Seek.
Watch I Seek.
Yeah.
Check it out. There's some cool stuff in there.
Yeah.
If you're interested. And then I guess the last thing on that is, why do you think there's such a fascination now with wristwatches, mechanical wristwatches, as opposed to, let's say, 10, 15 years ago?
I'd say social media blew the watch market up the last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
People are aware of these models, whereas people wouldn't even previously notice a watch on a person. Now they're very exposed to it. Creates the hype train, and people just want what they can't get, and then it just creates a cycle. So that's what's happened, and the watch brands have contributed by limiting production to create this exclusivity.
Yep.
But yeah, I'd say that's why it's become more popular, and also in terms of jewelry and like the world we live in terms of like our people taking care of their appearance or want to like show stuff off. A watch is one thing a guy can have, which they can use to do that, because we don't have many accessories.
Yep.
So I'd say that's also a very common reason.
Yeah, like a statement piece. And guys, like, you don't wear a belt. If you're a belt, you kind of look a bit douchey in the nicest way possible.
Can't really carry a bag again because
I'd say it's like a respect you're trying to get, in a way. Yeah.
And like the people who know what you're wearing, like, like, you know.
Well, you don't wear the watch to impress women, right? You wear it
to impress
not
other
to impress
guys.
other guys, but other guys will notice.
I personally, that will definitely happen, but I always like it if it impresses me. I know it's a bit cheesy, but as long as I like looking at it, and every time I look at a watch, I'm like, oh, wow.
Yep.
That's definitely the most important thing for me,
Yeah.
like self satisfaction and just admiring it myself. But yeah, I guess I'd be lying if I said like, oh, when someone says like, oh, nice watch, Stephen, and it does make me feel like good in some way.
Yep.
But it's not like the sole reason, I guess. Yeah.
So my last two then is, one, what's driving you now? Because like you said, you're buying, selling. You've got, I think you said 15 in the collection at the moment.
Yeah.
Is it to find that perfect one, or is it for profit? You can be honest. What's driving you right now?
I'd say both. So finding the perfect collection is always my goal. Like if I didn't have that desire, the buying and selling wouldn't be worth it, because I still get enjoyment out of it. Profit is definitely one, because I always buy at a good price where I can move it either at the same price or higher. So I'd say both of those I'd say the first one is the most important. But if I was losing money, I probably wouldn't do it as well. Like if I was just buying, selling, losing money with each watch, then I'd be like, I want to be more objective about this. I'm not gonna do this anymore. But because sometimes it does turn out that I do make money. It's good, but I've lost money as well. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the honesty. And then the last one is, what's the grail right now for you? So unlimited money, unlimited access. What's the
Okay.
grail?
I'd say I recently picked up a rose gold Daytona with the ivory dial, and I thought that was going to be like a really special piece for me. But the precious metal ones, like with rose gold, yellow gold, they wear as tad bigger. And I still want a Daytona back, so I'm after a steel Daytona. If anyone's selling one, I'm looking.
Yep, hit Stephen up.
Stephen will hit you up.